The 1977 AAA championship was almost a contest between two undefeated teams. Thomas Jefferson was undefeated and had outscored its opponents by an average margin of 33 points a game and had shut out nearly half its opponents. Flaget was having a tougher time pulling out a series of close wins before surrendering its 15-game winning streak to Central in the 10th game of the season. The county teams were finally beginning to reach parity with the city schools, having achieved championships in 1965 and 1970, and this was reflected in the fact that the 1971 Thomas Jefferson squad was ranked number 1 in the state and favored by 10 points over the third-ranked Flaget Braves. Coming into the championship game, the two teams had played only one common opponent, which was St. X. The Tigers gave TJ its only close game of the season to that point, losing to the Patriots 14-10, while Flaget had beaten the Tigers by 2 touchdowns the previous weekend. The consensus of opposing coaches was that Flaget had the size while TJ had the speed, that Flaget was superior in the passing game, and that TJ had the better ground attack. According to the Courier-Journal, the 8 p.m. game was played on a pleasantly warm night, with the temperature being 66 degrees at midnight. Before the kickoff, team captains Chuck Russ and Gordon Chamberlain of Flaget and Wayne Cherry and Tony Gray of Thomas Jefferson accept their conference championship trophies. Thomas Jefferson kicks off to open the game. Robert Martin picks up the ball at the Flaget 4. He returns 51 yards to the Thomas Jefferson 45. He's pushed out of bounds by Robert Evans and Ken Northington. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 45. James Cordray carries for no gain, tackled by Greg Boss. Second and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 45. John McGrath's pass is incomplete. Third and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 45. John McGrath passes 13 yards to Chuck Russ. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 32. James Cordray for 1 yard, tackled by Wayne Cherry. Second and 9 at the Thomas Jefferson 31. John McGrath keeps for 4 yards, tackled by Mark Hall. Third and 6 at the Thomas Jefferson 28. Gordon Chamberlain for 8 yards, tackle Larry Thomas. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 20. Gordon Chamberlain for 2 yards, tackle Bruce Maniz and Wayne Cherry. Second and 8 at the Thomas Jefferson 18. Robert Martin loses 2 yards, tackle Bruce Maniz and Wayne Cherry. Third and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 20. John McGrath passes for 9 yards to Robert Martin, tackle George Griggs. Fourth and 1 at the Thomas Jefferson 11. Gordon Chamberlain is stopped short, tackle Greg Boss and Mark Hall. Thomas Jefferson takes over on downs. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 11. Mike Northington for 6 yards, tackle Gordon Chamberlain. There's a penalty on Thomas Jefferson. First and 15 at the Thomas Jefferson 6. Ray Carr for 5 yards, tackle John Boss. Second and 11 at the Thomas Jefferson 11. Mike Northington for no gain, tackle Ken Groves. Third and 11 at the Thomas Jefferson 11. Ray Carr for 12 yards, tackled by William Schuler. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 23. Mike Northington for 2 yards, tackled by Gordon Chamberlain. Second and 8 at the Thomas Jefferson 25. Larry Thomas for 5 yards, tackled by Bernard Crenshaw. Third and 3 at the Thomas Jefferson 30. Ray Carr for 7 yards, tackled Charles Russ, Gordon Chamberlain, and Lawrence Hume. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 37. Ray Carr for a 1-yard loss. Tackle Michael Davis. 2nd and 11 at the Thomas Jefferson 36. Tony Gray laterals to Larry Thomas for 13 yards. Tackle Gordon Chamberlain and Bernard Crenshaw. There's a penalty on Thomas Jefferson. 2nd and 16 at the Thomas Jefferson 31. Tony Gray's pass is incomplete. 3rd and 16 at the Thomas Jefferson 31. Tony Gray's pass is incomplete. 4th and 16 at the Thomas Jefferson 31. Thomas Jefferson punts 41 yards to the Flaget 28. He has returned 8 yards to the Flaget 36. 1st and 10 at the Flaget 36. John McGrath for 3 yards. 2nd and 7 at the Flaget 39. Gordon Chamberlain for 2 yards. Tackled by Mark Hall. 3rd and 4 at the Flaget 42. John McGrath passes to Charles Russ for 3 yards. Tackled by Tony Gray and Paul Brittentime. Fourth and 1 at the Flaget 45. Flaget punts 28 yards to the Thomas Jefferson 17. It has returned 3 yards to the Thomas Jefferson 20. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 20. Ray Carr for 11 yards. Tackle Steve Chamberlain and George Willem. 1st and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 31. Mike Northington for 2 yards. Tackled by Ken Groves and Martin Purcell. And that is the end of the first quarter. 2nd and 8 at the Thomas Jefferson 26. Tony Gray for no gain. Tackled by Lawrence Hume. 3rd and 8 at the Thomas Jefferson 26. Tony Gray's pass is incomplete. 4th and 8 at the Thomas Jefferson 26. Thomas Jefferson punts for 41 yards. Is down at the Flaget 33. 1st and 10 at the Flaget 33. Gordon Chamberlain for 1 yard. Tackled by Robert Evans. 2nd and 9 at the Flaget 34. Robert Martin for 3 yards. Tackled by Robert Evans. 3rd and 7 at the Flaget 36. John McGrath's pass to Charles Russ for 13 yards. Tackle Mike Northington, Ray Carr, and Wayne Cherry. 1st and 10 at the Flaget 49. Robert Martin for 1 yard. Tackled by Gordon Chamberlain. 2nd and 9 at the 50-yard line. John McGrath for 2 yards. Tackled by Paul Brittentime. 3rd and 7 at the Thomas Jefferson 48. John McGrath's pass is incomplete. Fourth and 7 at the Thomas Jefferson 48. Flaget punts 47 yards. Is downed at the Thomas Jefferson 1 by Gordon Chamberlain and William Schuler. 1st and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 1-yard line. Mike Northington for 2 yards. 2nd and 8 at the Thomas Jefferson 3. Mike Northington for 3 yards. Tackle Michael Bergazzi. 3rd and 5 at the Thomas Jefferson 6. Ray Carr for 3 yards. Tackle Steve Chamberlain. 4th and 2 at the Thomas Jefferson 9. Thomas Jefferson punts 31 yards. It's down to the Thomas Jefferson 40. 1st and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 40. John McGrath's pass is intercepted by Ray Carr. 1st and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 32. Mike Northington for 2 yards. Tackled by Gordon Chamberlain. 2nd and 8 at the Thomas Jefferson 34. Mike Northington for 6 yards. 3rd and 2 at the Thomas Jefferson 40. Mike Northington for 1 yard. Tackle Ken Groves. 4th and 1 at the Thomas Jefferson 41. The punt is down at the Flaget 26. First and 10 at the Flaget 26. John McGrath passes to Charles Russ for 13 yards. Tackle George Griggs. First and 10 at the Flaget 39. James Cudray for 4 yards. Tackle by Larry Thomas. There's a face mask penalty on Paul Britton time. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 42. James Cudray for 4 yards. Tackle by George Griggs. Fourth and 6 at the Thomas Jefferson 38. John McGrath's pass is incomplete. Third and 6 at the Thomas Jefferson 38. John McGrath for 10 yards. Tackle Bruce Manise. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 29. James Cudray for 3 yards. Tackle by Mark Hall. Second and 7 at the Thomas Jefferson 26. John McGrath passes 26 yards to James Schuler for the touchdown. The series covered 74 yards in 7 plays. The score, Flaget 6, Thomas Jefferson 0. The extra point attempt is mishandled. The score remains Flaget 6, Thomas Jefferson 0, 1:02 left in the first half. The kickoff is taken at the Thomas Jefferson 35 and returns 6 yards to the Thomas Jefferson 42. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 42. Ray Carr for 4 yards, tackled by Gordon Chamberlain. Second and 6 at the Thomas Jefferson 46. Tony Gray for 3 yards, tackle John Boss. Third and 3 at the Thomas Jefferson 49. Tony Gray loses 2 yards, tackle Steve Chamberlain. Fourth and 5 at the Thomas Jefferson 46. Ray Carr for 3 yards, tackle Ken Groves. Flaget takes over on downs. 15 seconds left in the first half. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 49. John McGrath passes 46 yards to Charles Russ at the Thomas Jefferson 2. Time expires in the half before the referee can get to the ball to call timeout. That's the end of the first half. The score, Flaget 6, Thomas Jefferson 0. Flaget kicks off to begin the second half. The ball is taken at the Thomas Jefferson 19 and the runner falls at the Thomas Jefferson 25. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 28. Mike Northington for 7 yards, tackled by Gordon Chamberlain. Second and 3 at the Thomas Jefferson 35. Mike Northington for 5 yards, tackled by Martin Downs. There appears to be a 5-yard penalty on Thomas Jefferson. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 35. Mike Northington for 1 yard, tackled Gordon Chamberlain and Martin Purcell. Second and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 36. Mike Northington for 9 yards, tackled Michael Davis and Michael Bergazzi. Third and 1 at the Thomas Jefferson 45. Ray Carr for 1 yard, tackled Steve Chamberlain. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 46. Larry Thomas for 6 yards, tackled Martin Downs. First and 5 at the Flaget 48. Mike Northington for 4 yards, tackled Lawrence Hume, Ken Groves, and Michael Bergazzi. Third and 1 at the Flaget 45. Mike Northington for 1 yard, tackled Gordon Chamberlain and Lawrence Hume. First and 10 at the Flaget 47. Tony Gray's lateral attempt to Larry Thomas is recovered by Martin Downs. First down, Flaget. First and 10 at the Flaget 43. Robert Martin for no gain, tackled Tony Gray. Second and 10 at the Flaget 43. Robert Martin for no gain, tackle Mark Hall. Third and 10 at the Flaget 43. John McGrath's pass intended for Chuck Russ is incomplete. Fourth and 10 at the Flaget 43. Flaget punts for 41 yards. It's taken at the Thomas Jefferson 15 and returned 13 yards to the 28. There appears to be plays missing from the film. The ball is at the Thomas Jefferson 33. Mike Northington for 5 yards, tackled John Boss. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 39. Ray Carr for 22 yards, tackled Bernard Crenshaw. First and 10 at the Flaget 38. Larry Thomas for 2 yards, tackled Michael Davis. Second and 8 at the Flaget 36, Mike Northington for 3 yards, tackle John Boss. Third and 4 at the Flaget 33, Ray Carr for 5 yards, tackle Lawrence Hume, Michael Bergazzi, and Martin Downs. First and 10 at the Flaget 28, Mike Northington for 8 yards, tackle William Schuler and Lawrence Hume. Second and 2 at the Flaget 20, Larry Thomas for 3 yards, tackle Gordon Chamberlain. First and 10 at the Flaget 17, Tony Gray for 3 yards. There's a penalty on Flaget. First and 5 at the Flaget 12, Ray Carr for 4 yards. Second and 1 at the Flaget 8, Tony Gray laterals to Mike Northington. There's a penalty on Thomas Jefferson. Second and 16 at the Flaget 23, Mike Northington for 1 yard, tackle Martin Downs. Third and 15 at the Flaget 23, Tony Gray's pass is incomplete. Fourth and 15 at the Flaget 23. Tony Gray's pass is incomplete. Flaget takes over on downs. First and 10 at the Flaget 23. James Cordry for 5 yards. Tackle Greg Boss. Second and 5 at the Flaget 28. Robert Martin for 1 yard. Tackle Wayne Cherry, Ray Carr, and Mark Hall. That is the end of the third quarter. The score, Flaget 6, Thomas Jefferson 0. Third and 4 at the Flaget 29. John McGrath laterals to James Cordry for a loss of 5 yards. Tackle Bruce Maniz. Fourth and 9 at the Flaget 24. Flaget punts for 31 yards. The ball is down at the Thomas Jefferson 45. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 45. Ray Carr for 3 yards. Tackle Gordon Chamberlain, John Boss, and Ken Grubbs. Second and 7 at the Thomas Jefferson 48. Tony Gray for 15 yards, tackle George Willab and Martin Downs. First and 10 at the Flaget 37. Mike Northington for 5 yards, tackle John Boss. Second and 5 at the Flaget 33. Ray Carr for 3 yards, tackle Michael Bergazzi. Third and 2 at the Flaget 30. Mike Northington for 4 yards, tackle William Schuler. First and 10 at the Flaget 26, Ray Carr for 3 yards, tackle Michael Bergazzi. Second and 7 at the Flaget 23, Larry Thomas for 3 yards, tackle Ken Groves and Martin Downs. Third and 4 at the Flaget 20, Tony Gray's lateral to Mike Northington is fumbled. It is recovered by John Boss. First and 10 at the Flaget 23, John McGrath's pass is incomplete. Second and 10 at the Flaget 23, John McGrath's pass to Chuck Russ is incomplete. Third and 10 at the Flaget 23, John McGrath loses 1 yard, tackle Wayne Cherry and Mark Hall. Fourth and 10 at the Flaget 23. Flaget punch to the Thomas Jefferson 45. The fumble was recovered at the Thomas Jefferson 41. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 41. Ray Carr for 6 yards. Tackle Ken Groves. Second and 4 at the Thomas Jefferson 47. Tony Gray loses 1 yard. Tackle Lawrence Hume. Third and 5 with the Thomas Jefferson 46. Mike Northington for 5 yards. Tackle Gordon Chamberlain. First and 10 at the Flaget 49. Ray Carr for 5 yards. Tackle Gordon Chamberlain. Second and 5 at the Flaget 44. Mike Northington for 11 yards. Tackle Martin Downs. First and 10 at the Flaget 33. Mike Northington for 4 yards. Tackle Michael Bergazzi and Gordon Chamberlain. Second and 6 at the Flaget 29, Ray Carr for 5 yards, tackle Lawrence Hume, Gordon Chamberlain, and John Boss. Third and 1 at the Flaget 24, Mike Northington for 9 yards, tackle Gordon Chamberlain. First and 10 at the Flaget 15, Ray Carr for 7 yards. Tackle, John Boss. Third and 1 at the Flaget 6, Mike Northington for 4 yards. Tackle, Michael Davis. First and goal at the Flaget 3, Mike Northington for 2 yards. Tackle, Ken Groves and Martin Downs. Second and goal at the Flaget 1, Ray Carr for no gain. Tackled by the Flaget line. Third and goal at the Flaget 1, Mike Northington for 1 yard and the touchdown. Robert Evans' kick is no good. The score remains Flaget 6, Thomas Jefferson 6, 2:01 left in the game. The drive covered 59 yards on 14 plays. The Thomas Jefferson kickoff was taken at the 8th by Robert Martin and returned 12 yards to the Flaget 19. First and 10 at the Flaget 19. John McGrath passes to George Willard for 7 yards. He has run out of bounds at the Flaget 26. Second and 3 at the Flaget 26. John McGrath's pass to George Willard is incomplete. Third and 3 at the Flaget 26. John McGrath's pass is incomplete. Fourth and 3 at the Flaget 26. Flaget's punt goes out of bounds at the Flaget 37 for an 11-yard gain. First and 10 at the Flaget 37. Ray Carr for 2 yards, run out of bounds by Michael Bergazzi. Second and 8 at the Flaget 34. Ray Carr for 4 yards, tackled by Ken Groves. Third and 4 at the Flaget 31. Larry Thomas loses 4 yards, tackle Martin Downs. Fourth and 8 at the Flaget 35. Tony Gray's pass is incomplete. Flaget takes over on downs. First and 10 at the Flaget 35. John McGrath's pass to Charles Russ is complete for 33 yards, only seconds remaining in the game. First and 10 at the Thomas Jefferson 42. John McGrath loses 6 yards, tackle Bruce Maniz. The game is over. The final score is Flaget 6, Thomas Jefferson 6. Since there is no tiebreaker, the two teams are declared AAA co-state champions for 1971.